Creating complex responsive interfaces in Figma can be done very quickly using auto layout, but it does require a solid understanding of alignment, distribution, resizing, and nesting, all of which I'll be covering in this video. Now you can follow along with me by going to this URL on Figma Community where you can duplicate the project, and you can also find this link in the resources section for this video. Now this project has 2 frames, both of which already have auto layout. You're going to start with these 2 frames and then use nesting and auto layout to create a responsive activity feed that looks something like this. Let's begin by looking at the auto layout properties. Click on the first frame, notice it has vertical direction, and there are 18 pixels of space between the timestamp and the icon. There's no padding, but to make sure the icon is centered below the timestamp, I set the alignment to center over here. The second frame has 0 padding, 0 spacing, and a default alignment of top left. And finally, the resizing options for both frames are set to hug contents. Now, if any of the terms I just used seem unfamiliar, you might want to check out another video of ours called Working with Auto Layout in Figma. Okay, to begin, shift-click both of these frames and then press Shift+A to create a new auto layout frame. Then click on that frame and rename it Activity List here in the Layers list. And in the controls, notice that Figma figured out that this direction of the frame should be horizontal. And in addition, the spacing between those 2 frames was calculated as 30. And of course, you could always change that if desired by using this spacing between items control. Next, click on the plus sign in the fill section to give this frame a white background for a unified look. Then click on the padding control and type 16 to add equal amounts of space between the content and the frame. So this is actually looking pretty good, but try clicking and dragging the width of this frame to somewhere around 500 pixels. Now the fact that this text block doesn't move as the frame width changes could be a problem if your design calls for a more responsive layout. So let's take care of that. Click on the alignment option and let's examine this menu currently set to packed. Now, the 2 options in this menu control the distribution of objects within the frame. And as the name suggests, a value of packed will keep all the objects as close together as possible. Go ahead and choose Space Between, and you'll see the activity content shift to the right, and if you expand the width of the parent frame now, the content block moves with it, exactly what we want. So using Space Between has other effects worth looking at. Duplicate the activity meta block twice. Notice how that space between the duplicates is equal? And this is actually more obvious if you stretch the width of that frame further. The space between feature simply distributes everything equally, no matter what. Now this was just for demonstration, so go ahead and delete those 2 duplicate icons and resize the frame back to approximately 400. Now there's one more step to make our activity feed. Make sure the parent frame is selected, and then press and hold the Option key and drag downwards to duplicate it. Repeat that process until you have 4 frames in total. Click and drag across all those 4 frames to select them, and press Shift+A to apply auto layout. Go ahead and rename this new frame Activity-Feed, and also click the plus sign in the fill section to add our customary white background. So now you have an auto layout parent frame with 4 auto layout frames nested inside of it, and inside each of those frames, there's 2 nested auto layout frames. All the nesting. Now to see the flexibility this gives you, click on one of the email text fields and duplicate it a couple times and see how all that content readjusts. Or go ahead and delete one of those items entirely and notice how the entire frame collapses to fit. Now in most layout scenarios, you'd be done here, but there is one more thing I want to show you. Click the bottom of the activity feed frame and drag it up or down. What if your design required a layout where all this content was supposed to adapt or shift based on the height of the frame? Not a problem. Click on the alignment control, and remember this distribution menu you used earlier? Well, it's going to work here as well. Click on Space Between, and you'll see the 3 activity list items, shift position, and now, if you change the height of the frame, they will all adapt accordingly. Very useful, very cool. And that's it. Be sure to check out the resources section for links to other tutorials and videos, and be sure to check out the entire course catalog at Gymnasium.